center of that, and whatever other electromagnetic technology on the looking glass is turned on. And I'm not a physicist. I'm not an electromechanical specialist. There would begin to be a pearlescent sphere formed in the center of the looking glass, from whence there's almost like a crystal ball sort of imagery would begin evolving in the center. But if the argon port was maintained on the device, and the device was plugged into its electrical source, it in fact, according to the history of the J-rods, would turn on its own. Now, I'm not certain whether or not Majestic ran any tests whatsoever to see whether or not it would turn on under various electromagnetic pulses or whatever. I'm not certain of that, but I am certain that they have dismantled the looking glass at S4. I was there during its final operation.
And tweezer as well?
The tweezer facility has been dismantled. The looking glass technology, which was set up in India, has also been dismantled. I'm also aware that several have been taken down by virtue of military operation in the Middle East. We believe that we have accounted for all of them at this time. However, we're having to consistently monitor because we do not trust the P+45s.
We have to keep vigilant.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And if these things are dismantled, we have then broken the time loop, if you will, and we will remain in T1 and then have to face the painful pill of coming into cooperation with our environment. And, we're in a situation, Al Gore, the former vice president, has been going to some lengths, continuing to go to some lengths, to preach the ills of global warming.
It's far more than that, as you know.
Far more than that.
Some suggest that the point of no return came and went in the mid-1980s, and we're on the downslope, and nothing short of a miracle will save us. But
everything comes in stages when you're talking about something as dynamic as the biosphere. There are certain things which perhaps have come to the point of no return, and we're evidencing that with the mass extinction under which we're currently, what we're in.
Lovely, isn't it?
It's sickening.
Beyond belief.
It's sickening.
What? Go ahead, Dan.
But other items concerning the interplay between the atmosphere and the ocean, and even the North Atlantic conveyor system, which is beginning to alter presently, are still within our ability to grasp and to pull our own perturbations away from it, so that we can continue along with a normal biospheric, consequence of the Atlantic conveyor, a nice warm northern hemisphere. But if we do not grab a hold of this, if we continue acting like the big kid on the block, which you know full well the United States is using way too much energy and in far the wrong way for the world, we're going to step up to other levels of points of no return. And as we gradually tick them off, then they will combine to other levels of points of no return. So we have to begin stopping now, or we're going to continue into those points of no return.
We're almost left with no recourse in our nation's capital. I don't see any international or multinational corporation doing anything to slow down the rape, pillage, and plunder of the planet. So I guess acting locally and individually is the only way we can start to do something about this. The men and women of Washington are hopeless, helpless, and rather vile as a group.
Well, in my philosophy, God hears all prayers, and I think now's the time to issue
for unity.
Mass consciousness and intent may be what it takes to do it, and it could, from my understanding, indeed work.
It's as important and even more powerful than negative visualization. I believe in positive visualization.
Very good. I really like that. Okay, we'll take a break and come back and continue our conversation with Dr. Dan Burisch. Dr. Dan Burisch, R.C. McDowell, and the ever quiet William Hamilton. We'll hear from Bill in just a minute. All right, Dan.
Bill's just being politically correct right now.
I know, Billy's. Now, the number of unidentified flying objects all over the damn planet is enormous. Different shapes, different sizes, different configurations, some of them from our time, some of them from another time, some from a different dimension, probably all the above and then some. We are apparently being visited routinely, regularly, by any number of groups who probably have set up operations here long ago. Underwater, underground, whatever. This planet is anything but how we are told it is. It would seem to me a safe statement to make. Yes?
I am aware, and this is all I can really testify to, I am aware of the 3 extraterrestrial intelligences, which are future human lineage intelligences, plus the P+24s, which were the characters that crashed outside of Roswell, New Mexico. That was not an extraterrestrial craft. It was a terrestrial craft, by the way.
They were living here already?
Yes, they were from 24,000 years in our future on timeline number 2 and jumped back to the 1947 era and crashed. But I'm also aware of one interdimensional intelligence which has, now I say allegedly because I have no direct experience with it, allegedly been interacting with the Majestic. I know very little of it.
Who's flying the big triangles?
That's U.S. government.
Back-engineered stuff or our own?
Both. They're both ARVs as well as our own equipment.
Why are they flying these things over populated areas?
Oh, I won't talk about that. Because that is a military operation.
How stupid is it to fly over an urban area 150 feet off the ground with a mega-trillion-dollar black ops project that's been going on for decades when some deer hunters could open fire on it if it's made of terrestrial materials? Well,
and the opposite thing that can be said is, how often do you hear large complaints about it on regular television?
Well, we know the game.
It's not being popularized, and most people that have deer rifles, and God bless our VP, but won't shoot at something moving unless they know what it is.
You can bless him. I'll pass. All right. Well, anyway, the point is they're flying these things in some pretty populated areas, and I'm not sure why. It sort of doesn't make a lot of sense. But many things don't make a lot of sense.
I don't have any direct. Honest to God, I don't have any direct information that these triangles, that any number of the sightings could be true alien sightings or true extraterrestrial vehicles. However, I am aware that some of the triangles are in fact reproduction vehicles, and other triangles have been modeled off from them for military purposes. Those military, actually defense-related purposes, and that's why I would not want to comment on it.
That's fine. I understand. Okay, we've got about 8 minutes here. That's all. And I would like to invite you back, Dan, anytime you'd like to come back and continue our conversation. There's obviously a great deal here we haven't even looked at. It's too. We could do probably 10 programs and not cover half of it.
Well, and the nice thing about this, and thank you very much for the offer. The nice thing about this is that right now Marcia and I are nearing ready to cut the first DVD of my debriefing.
Excellent.
I have a couple hundred hours now total in the can of very precise, very dense material from my 20-year service with Majestic, and we're looking to, within the next couple months, put the first DVD out to the public so that this information begin spreading even wider. There have been those who have questioned whether or not what I was going to do with any monies accrued to me. As I have said before, and I will make it public when it happens, any monies that I am to receive from any DVD product or anything like that, which I would be scheduled a percentage of it. The exact percentage I don't even know right now, but whatever accrued will be given to charity.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to say? What do you want to cover, mention, point to that we haven't touched on tonight that you think is really important to you?
Well, I not so much what we haven't touched on, what we have touched on, that we have the power, and we mentioned it just because we were going into the break. Mm-hmm. We have the power to change our future, change our outlook. Yes, we should be politically active. I hear from a birdie that there will be certain changes in Washington. God bless us if the 22nd Amendment isn't pried with, and I doubt that it will be, that there will be some changes in Washington, D.C., where there will be a little more ecologically, and if necessary, ecologically conscious administration be placed in. And, of course, they're going to play their games, too. I mean, I've never known of an administration that was, a purist or wholly good.
No, agreed.
Marcy, that includes the 12 that I've worked for.
Yeah.
Too. If they were the men and women that they should be, they would stand up in the light of day and not hide like cowards.
Who do the MJ12 members answer to? Who does MJ12?
They are specifically set, or were prior to adjournment, as extra-governmental by order of Harry Truman and carried on by executive order, secret executive order from every administration hence.
Have they permanently adjourned?
This group has permanently adjourned.
Okay.
There will be another group taking their place, dealing with extraterrestrial matters as we complete this crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, I think actually they have to be lauded at one point. I know you have mixed feelings about quite a few of them, but...
Well, I have mixed feelings, Marcia, because I've been left to hold, to hang on to this bag and to tell the world that there's good, we've got, a possibility of a renaissance and all of these wonderful things from the energies, but there's also a possibility of a catastrophe. And these folks who have been at the policy end of this mm-hmm. don't have enough guts to stand up and say it themselves.
Hmm.
But by the same token, I mean, you and I both know that they're taking it on the chin as far as the secrecy issue goes, because by telling you to go forward and to tell the truth about all of this, they know that secrecy that they've been using and they've been counting on for all of these years is pretty much going to be evaporated. And they said, go ahead anyway. It's got to be done for the betterment of the whole human race so that we can move into P1 instead of P2.
I understand that the decision was the right decision. I've lived my life, I know you've lived yours this same predominant way, that it's not just the right decision, but it's the reasons behind the right decision, too.
That's true.
Dr. Bob Wood and Ryan Wood have come across hundreds, maybe thousands of pages of documentation ostensibly pointing toward this MJ12. Go back to the Truman era.
Oh, many of them are real.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Many of them are real. I've seen many of the documents, not all of them, but many of the documents that I've observed are real.
That's my take on it, too. Okay, Bill Hamilton, you got about a minute. Don't scream. You're screaming. Don't scream. Now, go ahead. Go ahead.
What can I say in a minute?
They had you turned up. See? Now, guy's a philosopher. We'll talk to you next time, then. See?
Sure.
No, you've enjoyed this, I'm sure. Bill, I thank you so much for all you've done over the years to try to help bring this story in pieces as much as you could, as much as you were able, to our audience here and to this program. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Jeff.
I would just like to say to the people listening tonight that we're going to survive. We're going to survive together, and I think that is the important thing. I would ask them to, no matter what philosophy that they come from, no matter what religion they come from, pray, meditate, consider the unity for the human species.